Hello and welcome here to round 4 of the Rei Sportscar Championship here at Monza. This is the opening race here of a double bill sprint round, and because we're racing at Monza, the liveries are based off Italian pride. So we've got some weird and wonderful liveries showcasing the wonders of Italy. Now we've got a grid pretty much based off reverse championship order. Now in pole position is Cyberstrike, with second place in the spaghetti cowboy western themed livery is Pixteca. Then in third place we've got Ulanga, with fourth Happy Hippie. Fifth place is Tyler, with sixth in the Mario livery is Alex Sinclair. Seventh place is Mr. Mako, with eighth being Samios. In ninth place we've got Scanny Flick, and then in a very pride themed car we've got Charlie Fraser. We'll check that out in more detail later on. Then in 11th we've got Sigriz and Nico, and then in 12th place is actually our championship leader Bradders V, who won the third round at Red Bull Ring. And then rounding up the field is Frank Jr., who has opted to start at the back of the field. So if we get on here with the race, we've got an 18 lap race, medium and soft tyres available, although the only mandatory compound is the mediums. Now our top two here are Cyberstrike and Pixteca, both starting on the mediums, but some of the drivers further back have opted to start on the softer compound. So here we are away as we go towards the Retafilio, and Cyberstrike going actually already defensive here from Pixteca. And as we go into turn one, will we see any carnage? We've got Ulanga on the inside of Pixteca. Oh, but Pixteca holds on there for second, and actually that's allowed Happy Hippie to then move into third place ahead of Ulanga and Tyler. But now as we go towards the Variante della Roche, Ulanga and Happy Hippie are now going to be looking to get past Pixteca. On the inside the Briton goes, and oh, Ulanga's braked very, very late, and who is that off? Tyler's off, and Ulanga is off. Pixteca is gone right down the field. Let's catch a replay of that from the Irish driver. We have to go a little bit further back. Ooh, and braking quite late. Pixteca getting thrown across the tarmac. So down from second to the back of the field for the Mexican. Mako and Alex have been quite fortunate there, and they've moved up into third and fourth. Here we can see Alex Sinclair's beautiful livery, with Mako just behind. Now if we just go further back, let's just check out some liveries we didn't get a good view of earlier. Here is Charlie Fraser's Italian pride themed livery, but he's just on the back of Scanny Flick. We've only got Scanny and Sammy back together here fighting for seventh, back like the old days. Ooh, and then further back we didn't catch Sigriz and Nico's livery at the start, so here he goes. Ooh, but Charlie gone wide, and this will allow Sigriz and Nico second place in the championship to make it move into the Parabolica, but I don't think he can make it. Ooh, he makes a late lunge, and he has actually got that move. So Charlie's now down to 10th. Meanwhile, further back we've got Bradders V in his Italian police car just getting past Frankie, who ran wide. And then we've got Pixteca down the field, but if we go back up front we can see Cyberstrike here in the red, white and green car ahead of the very fancy livery of Happy Hippie. Ooh, bit loose there for the leader. Now Happy Hippie has started on the soft tyres, so he will have to use the medium compound at some point in this race. But because of the soft tyres, he should have a lot more pace than Cyberstrike. Another thing to factor into these races is ballast. Now, based on the championship points that a driver has scored, they will get weight and power ballast. Currently, the highest ballast is for Bradders V, who's leading the championship, and then Sigriz and Nico has almost the same amount of ballast. It evens things up and leaves us with a very tasty race on our hands, and Tyler's run wide there out of Lesmo 1. Sammy's got heading to 5th. We've now got Charlie racing with Sigriz and Nico. Oh, he's actually Charlie there, got stuck on the inside, lost the position to Bradders V there. Charlie's outside of the top 10 now. We've got Scanny alongside Sigriz and Nico. We just watch them here in the back. and Sig's gone around the outside and has got that move, but what's happened up front? Cyberstrike's gone. Cyberstrike from the lead. Oh, what the... There's a huge incident here. So we've got Alex Sinclair's gone into the wall on its own, as long as Cyberstrike. So Cyberstrike has lost it, and then back in third place. Oh no, there's contact between Mako and Alex. Mako, let's just catch a replay of this. On board with the Hungarian driver. He's had a little bit of misfortune at Autopolis, but here... Oh no, Alex Sinclair's got loose in front of him, so totally not at fault there. But that's actually allowed Ulanger to regain like 3 positions there in that mess. Sammy's moved up to 4th, and here we can actually see these drivers rejoining. So now we've got Sig having to defend from Brothers V here for 6th, 7th and 8th, while Scani's around the outside. And Brothers is actually going very deep to the inside because Charlie Fraser now, who got a little bit more power, trying to go around the outside of the British driver, and he makes it. So we've got a Scott version Englishman. The Scot of Charlie Fraser moves into 8th, but he got a poor exit, and Brothers V gets re-passed. So good racing here between these two. After the incidents up ahead, Happy Hippie took the lead from Cyberstrike, Langer 2nd, Mako 3rd. Just to recap there, as we look towards the midfield, we've got Sig getting past Scani and Brothers, and oh, Brothers there just sent into the gravel. Didn't seem like it was anyone really at fault. It was just the smallest bit of contact, but that sends Brothers V down to 11th behind Cyberstrike and Frank Jr. Further back we can see that Pix Tecker is in 12th, just ahead of Alex Sinclair, who had that loss of control down at Ascari. But on lap 3, if we just go near the front, we can see that our soft runners of Happy Hippie and Ulanger, and maybe also Mako, we'll just check that out soon, they're storming away at the front. And actually it seems like Ulanger is the fastest person on track so far. He's got the fastest lap of 41.5, and in this race, whoever gets the fastest lap gets 1 bonus point. So there is a lot to play for overall. And it's now a 40.1 fastest lap. Can that be beat by Mako? No, he can't, but he's on the medium tyres, so he's not going to be too worried about being further back. Mako might be able to put the softs on later on if he can make the mediums last a while. Probably expect a lot of drivers to do about 8 laps on softs and then maybe 10 laps on mediums, but some people might try and eke out a longer stint on the soft tyres for an undercut. Oh, and is that Ulanger running wide? He is! Oh, and he's actually missed the track completely. That's a lot of time lost. Meanwhile, further back we got Sammy just on his own in 4th, but he is the leading American ahead of Tyler, who's being hounded by Sig Rezanico. Now, Tyler is on the soft tyres, Sig is on the mediums. Meanwhile, further back we've just seen Charlie. Well, we haven't just seen it, let's just catch a replay. Charlie's got past Scani. So what's happened to Scani actually? Because I think Scani's fallen down the order a bit. Ooh, no. So Scani has fallen down the order because Frank Jr.'s sneaked on by into Lesmo 1. And we can see that Cyberstrike in 10th is actually fighting back well after his mistake at the Ascari chicane. Oh, and has someone just gone off? Oh, is that Frank Jr.? Frank Jr., who was running pretty well in 8th place. If we just go on board, Lesmo 2, oh, he's hit the inside curb too much, got the rear loose, and then has struggled to correct the car, and that sent him into the grass, and he is likely to fall behind Pix Tecker and Alex Sinclair. He drops down to 13th place. Further up front, we've got Happy Hippie getting on very consistently, although Ulanger did seem to have a bit more pace before his mistake at the 2nd chicane. Our closest battle on track though is this for 5th place between Tyler and Sig Rezanico. Now back at Red Bull Ring, these two drivers had some good results. Tyler finished in 4th place. Meanwhile, Sigres and Nico was up in 3rd. He could have won the race, but he did come back from near the back of the field to 3rd place. Meanwhile, 2nd place at Red Bull Ring was Happy Hippie, who had led most of the way, but with varying strategies and an unfortunate late race incident, dropped down to 2nd. Ooh, let's just catch a replay because we've lost it. So Happy Hippie, who was leading the race, has made a mistake at that first chicane, meaning he got a time penalty. And one rule for today's race is that you must take penalties in the sector that you got them. So in this case, the sector, the first sector line is just before that second chicane, and the second sector line is before the Ascari chicane. So he had to take that there before that second chicane, and that's dropped him here into the clutches of both Ulanga and Mr. Mako. Considering that Mr. Mako is on medium tyres, he's certainly doing very well. His pace must be good. But we might see a move here into the Ascari chicane. Ulanga goes to the inside as Happy Hippie stays on the outside, and they go side by side, and ooh, a great move by Ulanga. Happy Hippie had to back out of it due to a very nice late braking manoeuvre. And it might be from 1st to 3rd now in 2 corners. Mako goes down to the inside for Parabolica. And yet Mako's got that move. Happy Hippie actually was slightly on the grass. However, he might be able to regain 2nd place as we go into turn 1 with this slipstream. A lot of this race is all about this slipstream that you can take. Although this battling here is just allowing Ulanga to get away, as Mako has to take a tight line into that first chicane, but stays ahead for now. If we just hop further back, we can see that Sammy's still in 4th place, getting along very nicely on medium tyres. This is about 5 seconds back from that pack of 3 ahead. Tyre in the softs, we can see that his front tyres are a little bit worn. He might pit soon to go onto medium tyres. And then we've got Sigres and Nico on mediums, Charlie Fraser on his own in 7th on the soft tyres, and then we've got this battle for 8th, 9th and 10th. Ooh, and there's contact. Alex Sinclair and Brothers V. I think Brothers maybe got a little bit loose. Alex just tapping the rear and just lets the British driver by. Frank Jr. is in 11th, so he's made his way up ahead of Cyberstrike and Pixteca, so they've had a few incidents maybe. As we go up front, half a lap ahead, Mako's still ahead of Happy Hippie. Ooh, and is that Tyler going off at the back? It is, and Tyler's hit the rear on the left wall. I think he hit the rear on the right wall as well, so that's... Whoa, what's happened to... Well, I thought Sig was going to be ahead here, but Sig's gone off. So Sig, let's just go on board with him through the Ascari chicane, and he's hit that first curb a lot. And that's just caused him to have a half spin. But the worst thing about it is having to trudge his way through that gravel trap. He drops down to 7th. Alex Sinclair in 8th. Oh, and there's slight incident with Brothers V there, who was on the AstroTurf. Brothers V in 9th, but is soon going to be 10th, as Scanny has a lot more acceleration out of Ascari. So this is not good for our championship leader. Now he's leading the championship by just 1 point ahead of Sigres and Nico after winning a Red Bull Ring. But currently Sigres and Nico is in 7th and Brothers V is in 10th, but neither really is having a good race. Oh, well actually Sigres and Nico's gone into 6th place ahead of Tyler. But yeah, certainly not what either of these drivers would have wanted. We can see a few cones and barriers about due to the incidents that we've had about second chicane. On the opening lap we saw Pixdecker going sideways all the way towards the barriers. And then we've seen a few people miss that chicane and gain small time penalties. So lap 7 of 18, so there is still a good 20 minutes of this race to go, so anything can happen. Although in the battle for the win, it's still looking pretty good for Ulanger now. He will have to go onto the slower medium tyres, and he has been wearing out his softs heavily, but he's already built up a good gap ahead. If Mako goes onto the softs though, I could imagine Mako catching up the Nissan GTR driver. I don't think we've had any pit stops this race, and our closest battle on track here I think for 9th and 10th. So yeah, so Brothers is stuck behind Scani, but Scani's been defending well it seems. Oh, and I think we've got our first driver to make a pit stop. It's Sigurd Nico, and Scani, Alex and Brothers V have all followed through. And let's see where they come out. So Brothers V comes out in a 7th place. Frank Jr. in 8th, and what's happened to Sigurd and Nico? Oh, sorry, Brothers V didn't pit, but Sigurd and Nico did. He's had a really poor turn 1 though, and then we've got Alex Sinclair who's just pitted. Oh, and Pixtecker's getting a bit loose behind. Oh, sorry, it was Scani Flick who pitted. So no, Brothers V stayed out for now. But these drivers here, Sig, Alex and Scani, are trying a massive undercut. We've got Scani Flick who will now have to 11 laps on soft tyres, but the same goes for Alex and Sigurd Nico. Can they make soft lap 11 laps? We shall see, but tyre wear isn't that bad around this Italian raceway. There aren't too many corners, but due to the harsh acceleration zones out of the chicanes, it's most of the rear tyres. Well, the rear tyres can take quite a battering. If we just catch up with our race leader, Ulanger, still on soft tyres, so he's now making the soft lap for 9 laps. Meanwhile, Mako, his medium tyres are actually quite heavily worn, so we might not see him risk the softer compound. In 5th place, Charlie Fraser's pitting on softs, so he has to go onto the medium compound. So curious where his Italian Pride livery car will come out in relation to Sigurd Nico. Meanwhile, Brothers V, our championship leader, has entered the pits this lap. Here is Charlie Fraser. Where is... So Sig's actually 5 seconds down the road, but Sig is on soft tyres. There is Frank Jr., here is Sigurd Nico, and then we've got Brothers V and Alex Sinclair. Alex Sinclair's ahead of Brothers V, we can just see them into turn 1. But Alex Sinclair was ahead of Brothers V before the pit stops anyway. Brothers V has managed to get ahead of Scani Flick, which is quite surprising considering that Scani had soft tyres on his car. He didn't have the cleanest of air though, because I think he was battling with Pixtecker. Meanwhile, in 13th place is Cyberstrike. He's also made a pit stop. Oh, Sig getting very loose in the background there. We're just on board though with Frank Jr. And our race leader, Ulanger, is into the pits. So he's made soft last 9 laps. His tyres were pretty worn. Mako in 2nd and Happy in 3rd were also into the pits. What tyres will Mako go on? Because if he goes on to another set of mediums, I don't expect him to catch up Ulanger. But if he goes on softs, we could see a really good race battle on the hands, and that's exactly what he's done. So he is behind Ulanger, but he's not on the soft compound. Meanwhile, as we just look in the bottom left turn, Ulanger is now on his mandatory compound of medium tyres. Currently, the filling in that sandwich is Samios, who's yet to make a pit stop, so he's making mediums last a while, which means that he can probably push a lot harder on his softs compared to the likes of Sig, Alex and Scanny. Further back, Happy is, I think, serving a penalty that he might have got turn 1. Charlie Fraser's a few seconds behind on medium tyres. Frank Jr. is yet to pit, he's on the same strategy as Samios, and then we've got Sig. Tyler now on medium tyres with Alex. Bradders rounding out the top 10, and then Scanny, Pix and Cyber. I think this lap will probably see Samios and Frank Jr. make their mandatory pit stop, and then they'll have 8 laps on soft tyres, which is probably a good strategy, but it all depends on tyre wear rates. This will give Mako there some clean air, as we just see. Yeah, Sammy does enter that pits, and then if we just go to Mako, he's now got clean air. And most important, well, and also this might give Mako the opportunity to go for the fastest lap of the race. As I said earlier, there is 1 point this race to the fastest lap, and on soft tyres, clean air and a lot of skill, this is his for the taking. Happy in third, bouncing over that first curb, with Charlie Fraser now in fourth. He's having a pretty good race, but Samios just behind on soft tyres, and that's actually crucial for this race. Samios was in a clear 4th place, but he's left it a while to pit, and in doing so he's actually rejoined behind Charlie Fraser, and Happy he got a penalty. Happy when he was bouncing over that curb, he got a major time penalty, and then he has stopped. He's honestly stopped in such a way that he's cost himself a lot of time. He drops down to 4th, possibly down to 5th as we just go back to Samios and Sig. If Sig had pitted earlier, he would have been probably ahead of Charlie Fraser, just showing the differences in the undercut, and that's allowed Sig Reznicka to go past, and Happy if he's off the track again, and Sig might gain that position as well. He does. Sig into 4th, Happy down to, cuts across, but stays in 5th place. Oh no, he doesn't, he's down to 6th, and it's just gone from bad to worse there for Happy. Possibly some sort of problem with his equipment. Tyler made a mistake at Lesmo 1 as well. It has all gone wrong for him. But yeah, it seemed like Happy maybe had some sort of problem, maybe with his steering wheel. He's dropped down to the skirts of the top 10. Sig Reznicka there with that undercut's now gone into 4th place after Samios left it a while to go onto the soft tyres. He does have fresher soft tyres, but will it be fresh enough to regain that position from Sig? Well, I'm not too sure about that. As we go in our battle for the fastest lap, it is Mako who now is the fastest lap. He's done a 39.3. Not only will that give him 1 more point in the championship standings, but you can see that he just gained 4 seconds over Ulanger. Ulanger's on the mediums, but with Mako pushing hard on those softs, by the time he catches up Ulanger, he might have already wasted the potential of his tyres. Charlie Fraser's just taking a penalty, I think. So penalties are catching out a lot of drivers, and we can see that Sig has a lot more speed as we go into the second Variante. Meanwhile, just behind we've got Sammy defending from Alex. Alex has been setting some pretty good lap times on his soft tyres after he pitted on, I think, lap 7, I think it was. Brad Aziz struggling a little bit with a 42.2 last lap. And then we've got Scanny Flick in 8th. Tyler in 9th after going off like Lesmo 1. Frank Jr. in 10th. He's still not pitted. He's going a really long way on mediums. Probably too long though, because now he isn't going to do as many laps on the softs as he could. The softs are the faster compound. You probably want to use the softs as much as you can before they hit the cliff. Pickstecker in 11th. Happy Hippie after his technical problems down in 12th. Could have been on the podium otherwise, and Cyberstrike down in 13th. We can see now that Macca's done another fast lap. It's a 39.8, and if we compare that with Ulanger, he's had to up the pace. He's now done a 40.8. Oh dear, oh dear. So we had a grey battle for third between Charlie and Sig. Sig really struggling to make a move though due to the differences in ballast. Charlie has a slight amount more power, and Sig was actually, I think, bump drafting into turn 1, but he's braked 50 metres too late. And where's Charlie gone? Charlie makes the turn, but Sig Rezenico doesn't. He hits the barriers. I don't know if he'll get a time penalty for that, but he actually now down to 5th possibly, with Sammy sneaking up on the inside through Curva Grande. They go side by side into the chicane chicane, just enough room given, and Sammy makes a great overtake on Sig. We saw Sig overtake Sammy there earlier. This time it's the other way around, so great comeback there. Sig, with that crucial mistake at turn 1, now drops to 5th, with Alex Sinclair in 6th from Brothers V. Ali now closing in on 7th. Let's just go on board with him as we can see these 3 cars closing up ahead. There's a massive gap though between this midfield scrap and the top 2. It's, I think, about 15 seconds currently. We've got Alex now the outside of Sig Rezenico into Ascari, and Alex goes right around the outside of Sig. That's a fantastic move. So I don't know why Sig's struggling so much, but that's 2 positions lost now, and this might be 3 into Parabolica. There's 1 point in between these drivers in the championship standings. Brad is going around the side of Parabolica, and that is going to be 3 positions lost for Sig in just 1 lap. So Sig getting overtaken around the outside at Ascari and Parabolica, 2 great moves from Alex and Brothers V. Sig now defending on the inside, Sig now going towards the inside, using the slipstream of Brothers V, who's defending heavily just outside the white lines. And as we go into turn 1, Sig now going around the outside, and actually he gets ahead of Brothers V. So this is great racing between our championship rivals. Go through Curva Grande. Brothers V really looking heavily for a move. Sig will go to the outside, Brothers V to the inside. No, slight bit of contact, but Sig just stays ahead. So good racing from both. Good overtakes around the outside from both of them, as well as Alex Sinclair, as we saw previously. If we just, and Alex Sinclair went a little bit wide, but if we just really quickly just pop to our battle for first, we can see that Ulanger is about 2nd ahead of Mako. Charlie Fraser is in 3rd on his own, and then we've got this scrap, Sammy, Alex, Sig and Brothers V. I don't want to divert my eyes too much from this 4-car scrap. The driver out of these with the newest tyres is Sammy, and he is leading. And then Alex and Sig, they pitted on the same lap, which was lap 7, and then Brothers V pitted on lap 8. Sig's tyres are a bit worse than Brothers V, especially Sig's rear tyres. Now back at Red Bull Ring, Brothers V did the longest soft stint of anyone in the race, although then the round previously at Autopolis, Brothers V really struggled with his tyre wear. So tyre wear and people's ability to cope with them seems to be going very differently race to race. Is Sig going to make a move on Alex Sinclair? He'll have to be very late braking into the Rettifilio, but cannot brake late enough. Good defending from Alex Sinclair. Alex Sinclair's front tyres are struggling a bit. He's still got 4 laps to go on them. If we just go slightly further back, we just got Scanny in 8th place, so he's dropped from this midfield battle. Same with Tyler. Happy Hippie's moved up to 10th with Frank Jr. in 11th. That's soon to be 12th as Pixtecker moves into 11th there, just at the exit of Parabolica. And then we've got Cyberstrike, who's just a lap down in 13th. But if we go to our midfield battle, all four of these close cars still pretty close, and it's Sigres and Nico who's looking the most feisty of them all. He wants to regain that position on the Super Mario themed car into Ascari, but the extra power that Alex Sinclair has proving dividends. No move possible into Parabolica. Could we see an overtake into the turn 1 chicane? It's going to be tough, but Sig, ooh, it's going to be even tougher because Sig's run a bit too wide at Parabolica. He got onto the dirty stuff. Even in the slipstream here, you can see that Sig is struggling to close, although Alex Sinclair does have a slight toe from the American ahead. We just saw Cyberstrike there getting out the way into turn 1. I think he's just made a pit stop. Oh, and Sig's got a move on Alex Sinclair. Alex has just run a bit too deep at the first part. It's slowed him up for the second part, and that means we've now got side-by-side racing through Curva Grande, but no, Alex's extra power allows him to pull ahead now going into the second chicane. Oh, and I think that was maybe contact going into that chicane. It was very faint, but I think Bradesby just tapped the rear left corner of the Italian. As we just go through Lesmo 1, Alex Sinclair's gone very wide. Sig looking for a move, but Lesmo 2 is not the place to make that. Oh, when he spun! Sig Rezanico has spun out of Lesmo 2. That's a great recovery though. That was actually quite splendid. Not as splendid as keeping it on the track, but if we just catch a replay of that, we'll just catch it from the driver behind Bradesby. So Sig very aggressively trying to make a move, and very similar to what Frank Jr. did earlier. Got loose at the curb, and that sent Sig Rezanico down to 7th place. He won't go any further back from that though, as there was a gap 2 scanning flick. If we just go towards the lead, we can see that Mako's caught up to the back of Ulanger, but will we see an overtake? We just got 2 laps to go as we cross the start-finish line. You can see as we go to 182 miles per hour, and I think that's quite late braking from Mako. It's pretty perfect actually, he hits that first apex. Further back, Charlie Fraser, who won our round at the top of this, having another good showing here. He's in 3rd place, but he's had a bit of a lonely race. He is being caught up from Samios, and the reason for that is because Charlie's on mediums, Sammy, Alex, Brothers and Sig are all on the softer tyres. Further ahead, and this is the closest I think we've seen these 2 leaders. Ooh, Mako getting loose there through Lesmo 1, that will affect his entry to Lesmo 2. And that was a lot of curb used, so I think he's lost a little bit of ground. It's been a good performance from both of these drivers so far, certainly showing their pace here in the Rei Sportscar Championship. Now, both of these drivers have won one race before. Ulanger won his debut ever race in the Rei Sportscar Championship back in GTE cars at Sonoma Raceway. Meanwhile, Mako has won at Tokyo Expressway in these Group 2 vehicles. Who's going to make it 2 wins? Well, currently it's looking like Ulanger as Mako drops off slightly. If we go back to our midfield battle, we can see that it's slightly gapped after Sig's spin. Bradesby's fallen back from Alex Sinclair. Both have pretty similar levels of tyre wear though, even with Bradders pitting 1 lap later. Further back, Scani been pretty calm for him these last 5 laps in 8th place. Same goes for Tyler and Happy Hippie. They've only got the top 10, and Frank Jr. has finally gone onto the soft tyres. He did on lap 14, so he's doing 5 laps on softs. Pixtech is in 12th, and then the lap car is Cyberstrike in 13th. As we're on the final lap, and Ulanger is still ahead of Mako. Ooh, and Oh, Mako's cut that chicane quite heavily there. Might have gained a tyre penalty. And yeah, his car is ghosting slightly, so he definitely does have to take a penalty in there. You can see he's slowing out of Lesmo 1, taking that penalty, and that gives Ulanger a 2-second lead. Charlie Fraser in third, with only a 1-second gap to Samios. We'll just go on board with Sammy. Possibly Sammy could make a move. And then we've got Alex Sinclair very close behind him, fifth. So we have got a second race coming up here at the Autodromo Nacional Monza. Once again, that will be an 18-lap sprint race. Alex Sinclair is having to take a penalty, but he stays in 5th place, but it drops any chance of him gaining 4th place. Meanwhile, our race winner, Ulanger, he's led from lap 3 or 4 or something. Great win there from the Irish Nissan GTR driver. Mako there in 2nd, celebrating behind. He will be pleased with 2nd place and his fastest lap of the race there of a 39.3. Coming home in 3rd is the Italian Pride-themed car of Charlie Fraser. He did a very good stint there on medium tyres to clinch 3rd place. His early pit stop allowed him to stay ahead of the likes of Sammy and Sig. Samios with a great performance in 4th. Alex Sinclair holds on to 5th. Pretty good result. Bradley, our championship leader, possibly disappointed with 6th place. Sig Rezanico just ahead of Scaniflick in 7th and 8th. Let's just see how close this was at the line. Okay, not as close as it seemed there, but Sig very disappointed with 7th place, I think, especially after that spin. Scaniflick in 8th place, Tyler in 9th, and then Happy Hippie rounding out the top 10. Could have been a top 5, maybe even a podium after his really good opening stint. Frank Jr. in 11th place. Had some good pace there at the end on soft tyres, but maybe not a long enough stint. And Pixtecker in 12th place in his spaghetti western themed car. Rounding out the field is Cyberstrike in 13th. He finished the lap down, but he will start on pole position for the 2nd race here at Monza.